such a pure stroke. Look at that. Didn't go in, so that's got to be her. I wish I could get some numbers. Put your numbers on your warm-ups. Nope, not you. It has to be. She's 5'4". Yeah, that's got to be her.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome inside the Yankee Center and the Yosinoff Court for tonight's women's basketball matchup between your Emmanuel College Saints and the MIT Engineers. Mason Stout alongside Tom McCarthy as we get ready to get this one underway. We take a look at the starting lineups of the two teams, then I'll throw it over to Tom for some thoughts before we get this one underway. First for your Saints, Corey Mathis, Jamad Finn, Yanni Chan, Riley Lahiff, and Loredana D'Agostino, the starting five. Four of those, Mathis, Finn, Lahiff, and D'Agostino, the four quad captains to this season for head coach Andy Yosinoff in his 45th year, originally out of the University of Rhode Island. And then for MIT, Christina Antonikakis is the player to watch. She's coming off of an MIT lifetime high 40. The previous career high of anyone at MIT was 33. She blows that one out of the water. She scored 40 her last time out. Then it's Paula Piper, Annika Sogstad, number 24, Kemsey Bogu, the first-year student out of Algonquin, Illinois, and Kylie Gallagher. It's Gallagher and Antonikakis, the two co-captains this season for first-year head coach. You don't get much of a difference between the head coaches in terms of experience. You got a 45th-year head coach in Andy Yosinoff, and Lucia Robinson-Griggs, first-year head coach, originally a graduate of Bentley University out in Waltham from 2007. Tom, as we get ready to get this one underway, your thoughts as we look at these two teams?
Well, I think we're really up against two teams from two different conferences. Undefeated, MIT, I think, would be looked upon at playing at a little bit higher level. Contrasting styles, really, in terms of, from Emmanuel, we all know that Andy's been running and pressing for 45 years, and he'll just keep doing what he's doing. His job is to take the big scorer out of the game and then try and limit the other players. He can't give away free points to the other players because they're all averaging between 6 and 9 points to back up. Their senior team, Andy has basically a team that is led by seniors, but also he had a great recruiting class 2 years ago. COVID took away that season, so they're really freshmen. Only played 2 games, but there's a lot of them. So it should be a very, very interesting game. They played the game in the 70s, so that's something to watch. MIT 79 points as opposed to Emmanuel's 72. But really becomes MIT's offense versus Emmanuel's pressure defense up-tempo game.
It's going to be very interesting. The player to watch in black and white with those maroon numbers on the back will be number 5. We mentioned her, Christina Antonikakis, coming off of a 40-point game. She averages 27.3 a game. Now, only 3 games in, but that is an impressive total. Anytime you score 25 or more, it's impressive. 40-point games, they don't come often, and when it comes to MIT, it's never happened before. The previous career high was back in the 1970s, and she blows that all over the water by 7 points as she had 40. Meanwhile, on the other side, for your Emmanuel College Saints, you see the starting lineup getting announced. A much more balanced attack, although Tom mentioned that everyone on this MIT bench and the rest of their starting lineup can score. Not necessarily in bunches like Antonikakis, but they can all score. On the other side, for your Saints, 13.5 per game for Loredana D'Agostino, 11 for Jamad Finn, who you will see wearing that red bandana traditionally around her head. She'll pick her out pretty easily, but it's going to be, like Tom said, the defense of Emmanuel College, that press that has been applied by Coach Yosinoff for now 45 years against this electric scoring offense for MIT, led by the co-captain Antonikakis, number 5 in black. We're getting ready for the national anthem, so we pause, and we'll come back with a tip on the other side. Don't go anywhere. just about set to get this one underway. Two teams separated by just a mile and a half. It's the Charles River that separates Emmanuel College on the Fenway side of Boston and Cambridge, home of the MIT Engineers. Yet, as Tom mentioned, these are two teams from opposite conferences. MIT out of the NUMAC, of course, Emmanuel out of the GNAC, Great Northern Athletic Conference. All this getting ready for conference play coming up in just a couple of weeks. It'll be Colby Sawyer first up on December 11th in conference play for this Emmanuel College team. Saints are in white tonight, trimmed in blue and gold, the traditional colors. Opposite them, MIT, all in black, maroon numbers, and white trim.
Fans should keep their eye on Yanni Chen, who is a freshman just in from Hong Kong. So this is a very interesting player. She's been filling up the stat sheet from the beginning, really can play hard-nosed defense, and she's actually inspired the seniors on the team. They got to follow her.
Opening tip gets us underway, and it's knocked forth, and Finn grabs it, flips it to a teammate, and just off the bat, it's Yanni Chen, as Tom just mentioned, highlighting her, and she scores off the opening tip, and there's right to the press. Chen turns the ball over, gets the steal. They try and pick her out again. 50-50 ball won this time by the Engineers, but you can already see that brand of Indy Yosinoff basketball right into play. Ball goes through the hoop, and within seconds, the swarming defense forces a turnover. Pass across the middle, getting inside, traveling violation.
Well, that was interesting coming out because Coach Yosinoff before the game mentioned that he thought he put Yanni Chen onto the scorer, and instead he put Corey Mathis. So very interesting decision there.
Man-to-man defense for the Engineers. Out top, D'Agostino feeds inside, turns, and that shot was missed from short range by Riley Lahiff.
Lahiff is like a John Havlicek going back into the era, but constantly moving both in the offense and defensive end.
Piper and Antanakakis will usually do the ball handling. It's Piper just to the right, handling the ball right now as the center inside. Kylie Gallagher, 6'2". She's the biggest player out there. D'Agostino will be matched up against her. Running inside, missing that shot was Piper, and coming out with it is Finn, and look to move are the Saints. Nice pass. Try to pick out D'Agostino, who missed the layup, and we got our first foul of the game. It'll be whistled against Emmanuel.
Over the weekend during the tournament, this was one of the problems that Emmanuel had. They had, even though they won both games in 15, 20-point range, missed a lot of layups, easy shots, and you can't do it against a team with quality MIT.
Breaking the press are the Engineers. 2 wins this weekend over Salme, Regina, and Moravian. There's another turnover. Here's Chan, goes on the crossover, keeps her dribble, and finishes nicely with the left. 4 points early for Yanni Chen, true freshman from 18 out of Hong Kong. Another turnover, that's 3. And there's another one right back the other way. But the press is working so far for the Saints. Piper calling for it. Not seeing there's Rogu. Rogu inside, goes 1-on-4. Misses out. Rebound and put back nicely from Kylie Gallagher.
That's going to be a challenge for Emmanuel. That size factor always can come in the way of slowing the game down and being very effective at drawing fouls. So they got to get the big girl running.
Chan had a thought at a 3, but this is not an Emmanuel team that likes to shoot the 3. Total difference, Tom, in the early going. And you look at these two teams. One team who loves to shoot 3s, but they also love to get to the foul line. The other team lives inside.
Diamond and 1 3/4 court press.
Piper is able to break it, find Antanakakis. She lifts and hits. Antanakakis came into this one. She had 34 attempted 3s on the year. Emmanuel shot 18 of them as a team through the first 2 games. Finn inside, her team down 1. Trying to spin on the defense and putting up nicely and finishing over traffic is Lahiff.
Emmanuel really goes against what's now become the fashion of the 3-point shot. They're a mid-range layup type of team.
Something not surprising when your head coach has been there for 45 years. You're talking to him at any point. Old-fashioned head coach with some old-fashioned press.
2-1 on that time. So he's shown 3 different presses so far, 3 minutes into the game.
Very active over there on the side for Coach and getting underneath. That will be called on the floor on Mathis.
Not much Corey could do with that at 5'1" against 6'2" player.
And there's going to be a lane violation crossing that plane. A little bit too much energy for Coach Yosinoff, and he's already warned by the official on that far baseline. And now the travel. Turnovers have been the story in the early going. There have been at least 3 of them forced against MIT by that press, but just as many the other way, traveling and turning the ball over for Emmanuel. 6-5, Saints on top. Inside, Chan gets the pass but misses the layup. Was troubled by some good defense by Sogstead, who is able to feed it outside to Piper. Piper gains the front court, goes to the left side, Wogu. Wogu lifts the shot too strong. Rebound Finn. Transition ball game, that's going to be a double dribble. They call the carry, but same result, another turnover.
Well, Emmanuel's doing all the right things defensively, basically. Even giving up the 1-3, but on the offensive end, they're having real trouble putting the ball in the basket. I would think maybe put Lauren D'Agostino down in the box and slow it up on offense.
No need to slow it up here. Mathis inside, easy pass, easy finish for Lehiff. They're certainly speeding up MIT. A little bit too fast themselves on the offensive end. It's tough to be slow offensively, but fast defensively. Doesn't usually work that way. Nice block inside. Wogu, though, is able to put it home on the second attempt.
A little bit of NBA action in the key that time.
Heavy contact, no call, but Wogu was able to fight through it and finish for 2. 8-7, Emmanuel leads, just over 4 minutes gone, opening quarter. D'Agostino still looking for a first real shot attempt. That's a shot attempt, but not a real good one. Tried to draw the foul. Piper into the front court. Inside. Nice threaded through pass to pick out Gallagher for 2.
Perfect example of 2 seniors. They've been playing for 4 years. They know who one another is and able to find one side.
Antonikakis, just the one shot. It was that 3 from distance that she hit. But we've seen a little bit more from the MIT role players as well, as Finn tries the floater in the lane. Rebound offensively by D'Agostino. Hoists and 1. Gets hit by Gallagher and she'll head to the line.
D'Agostino can really do damage in those short-range jump shots. Very, very good at it.
First sub of the game, 2 subs actually. Caitlin Barker, number 3, the junior from Plainville, Connecticut, is into the matchup, as is one of the taller players out there, Kiara Eubanks, 6'1" sophomore out of Portland, Maine, number 24.
She's one of those sophomore freshman type. You look at her body makeup, she's got the real long arms, and she's been a real surprise early in the season so far.
D'Agostino misses the free throw, but gets her own long rebound. Still in her hands, 20 seconds reset on the shot clock. Tries to kick out for 3. Shot from Barker. Knocks it down from the corner. Back into the diamond press. Go the Saints, and there's going to be a little bit too much physicality. That's the one thing, if you have a refereeing crew, Tom, that's quick on the trigger when it comes to the whistle, it's hard to press.
You basically have to play 1 and 2 feet off and hope that they're going to continue to throw the ball up the court quickly. Quick whistle can take you out of the game pretty quick.
Antonikakis for 3, and you can see how frustrated Andy Yosinoff is. The switch happened late, and Antonikakis isn't going to miss those too often. She's made 2 of them in the early going. She's got 6. Saints remain up 1. Eubanks, near side Chan. D'Agostino goes to set the screen. Chan refuses it, and she's going to get fouled. 2 shots coming. You can see she plays with a lot of passion. She wanted that and 1. Frustrated she missed it through contact.
When she was being recruited, Coach William Lowe always told Andy that all she does is play against boys. She loves to take it to the contact, and she's shown it right from her first step off the plane.
You see that in some Asian countries where those best girls have no problem. Oftentimes the size isn't too much of a comparison, so going up there, being physical, disciplined player, usually coming from a country like China or Hong Kong.
Well, I spent 40 years over there, Mason, running 44 countries of basketball, so we see a lot of good three-point shooters over there. Love the three-point shot.
Form is important, that's for sure. Discipline, form, doing the same thing over and over and over. And you like what you see from Chan in the early going. It's 14-12, Saints with the lead. Into the front court, now the trap comes. Makes its way out, faking the three, or at least thinking differently, was Angie Choi off the bench for MIT. Coach Yosinoff, 45 years on the job, still looks like he wants to get in there and defend. Another turnover forced. Next sneaks a foul will put MIT into the bonus. 3 fouls against the Engineers to this point in the game, and another sub coming in for MIT. It's a forward switch. So Gallagher heads to the bench, replacing her similarly sized player Olivia Joseph, 6 foot out of Newton Square, the true freshman.
And they push Yanni Chan over to the point guard position now, so this should be interesting. Now, there's a lot of technical type fouls being called early in this ballgame.
Well, that was a carry. Palming violation called against Chan, and she checks out. Finn comes back in. We play that fast tempo, particularly defensively. You're going to see lots of subs come in for Coach Yosinoff. Everyone on that bench has to be ready at any given point. That one's long from that far corner. Rebound on the short side. Getting the ball back is Wogu. Wogu inside. Andy Agostino kicks back out. Trinity down to the corner. Shot comes in and is hit by Angie Choi.
If we could take away that left corner, we have a very good lead. Everybody is gravitating over there.
Well, definitely frustrating Coach Yosinoff as 3 threes as Finn gets inside, Euro steps and finishes for 2. Coach Yosinoff has seen three balls hit right in front of his face. This one short from the short corner, far side. Offensive rebound, shot clock does not reset. Antonikakis, she won't leave the floor. Hoist from 3, air balls, 2 in a possession. And now here comes a possession opportunity. Kaylin Barker retrieves it, does not have numbers, but it's a blocking foul, and one! And one! No, they're going to say it's on the floor.
Tough call, but a very nice move. Barker's got off to a good start, so very encouraging sign.
No fear from the junior. She was 1-on-4 and still tried to draw contact, did so, but they're going to call the foul on the floor. So next foul either side, if it's defensive, will lead to free throws. More subs coming in for Lucia Robinson-Griggs, 2007 graduate of Bentley University at the D2 level up in Waltham, or over in Waltham, here in Boston. Finn inside, a little bit of a tap, bounces around a couple of players, another heavy challenge, trying to get inside and finishing Barker, and this time no call, and it rims out on her. Nice pump fake. Joseph kicks out, trying to retrieve it, and that one nearly hit Coach Yosinoff, but it's lost out of bounds that time by Choi.
One thing we haven't pointed out is that Allison Wild, who this year is a sophomore, again, another freshman in terms of playing time, is out tonight, and she is a terrific prospect. 6 foot tall, rangy, plays all over the floor. So we'll see how much that hurts. But of course, playing a lot of numbers, sometimes you can afford to lose one player, but she's a good one.
Her size would certainly be helpful. There's a nice stop and go, but it's missed in transition by Barker. Did all the hard work to get to the hole. Make that number 5. I just couldn't finish. Olivia Matella out of Swampscott, Mass. number 5 in white. And there is the bonus. 2 free throws for the remaining 2:02 for the Engineers. At the line right now is Tina Hong, sophomore. Make that true freshman if you want to think of it that way, but she's not a true freshman. She is a sophomore, a first-year player. Because of this COVID-19 pandemic from Wilmette, Illinois, she makes the first and drains the second. Nice pure stroke there. Trinity Gow, had the free throws.
Matella is one of the few players on the team that can take the three-point shot and make a fair bunch. She hasn't got off to a very quick start here in the season, but during the practice season, she played very well.
There is Matella feeding inside, and there's going to be a 3-second violation whistled against Eubanks. There was a nice feed inside through a couple of bodies by Matella, but Eubanks camped out in the lane, called for 3 seconds. It's another turnover for the Saints. Troy running the point, takes it off the dribble. Finn doing a good job on Antenakakis. I don't think the turnover stat is one that either coach will like in this first quarter.
I wonder what you contributed to the defense or a lack of ball handling. I don't think MIT has played against a team this year that presses full courts.
Very rare that you see a team that will do that. Certainly at this level. You see a couple of D1ers still try it. Like, talk about an old-fashioned coach, just reminds me of the old 55 employed by C. Vivian Stringer in the mid-2000s. Got a couple of big upset wins over UConn in those days, applying that heavy press full court. Makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Eubanks at the line, rattles it in.
Well, when I coached at Boston College, I worked with Tom Davis, and he was one of the inventors of the 55. Full court, drawing pressure.
Eubanks trains 2. The free throws have been good in the early going for both sides. 18-17, Emmanuel with the lead. 90 seconds to play in the first quarter. Antenakakis. She launches from long range outside that second line. Back rims it. Finn into the front court. Right to the free throw line. Now resets the offense with 22 on the shot clock. Tries to feed inside. Eubanks turning, fading. Trying to track down the rebound, having it go off her hands and out of bounds. Shakira Katant, 5'11" out of Easton. Nearly turned over. Got Shan back in there applying the pressure. Nearly another turnover, but this press is working. It is speeding up MIT, and they are having a very difficult time breaking it.
Well, the key to extending the pressure is not only on the ball, but you have to take away the pass to the middle. So that time, MIT players streaking in from the middle, and Riley did a very good job of getting her hand in the way.
Well, taught from when you're a little kid in middle school, use that sideline as an extra defender. It's the middle where things are difficult to defend. There's another turnover. Chen puts on the Jets and finishes with the finger roll. Cross-court ball. MIT back into the middle of the court. Choi finally gets it into the front court. Into the corner. Antenakakis. This one goes back rim. She hit too early. She's been quiet since. Choi tries to do one her own. And MIT has gone cold from the field over the last 2-3 minutes.
She's doing everything but selling popcorn out here.
18 seconds. Shot clock is off. They can play for 1, and that's exactly what Coach Yosinoff says. Slow things down. Let's run our offense in the half court. Finn on the cross from long distance, and that is not the shot that you want with 6 seconds remaining in the quarter. 4.4 remains. Antenakakis to trigger out of bounds. And they get one more half-court heave. It's going to be difficult. Here it comes. And it's just long. Good full-court offense with 4.4. Shows you how long there is. Well, that is the end of 10 minutes of action. It's Emmanuel 20 and MIT 17. Well, it's been a lot of offense, a lot of quick triggers, a lot of turnovers at the end of the day. Got to be happy with Emmanuel with that scoreline. But they got to slow down the offense, stop committing the turnovers while you're forcing MIT to do the same.
Well, they're generating very good offense out of their defense, but they're not close. And you've got to close against good teams. We talked about the game in the 70s. It's sitting there right now after the first quarter, 2017, with 70s, 80s games. So it's interesting to talk about defense when the game is so high-paced and high-scoring at the moment.
Probably been at least 6 to 10 points left out on the court. Some nice moves to get into the area. But once you're into the paint, there have been a couple of layups missed in transition. A couple of travels, turnovers, double dribbles, you name it. This game really could be about 28 to 17 because the defense has been incredibly strong for Emmanuel, particularly off that press. And Tanakakis had a couple of threes right in front of Coach Yosinoff, but she missed her last bunch as well. Cannot let her get hot. The longer MIT stays in this game, they have a closer in Tanakakis. She can hit, she can light up the scoreboard quickly from long distance. Emmanuel, living inside the three-point arc, cannot score points in bunches unless it comes off their press. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Mason Stout alongside Tom McCarthy, second quarter action from the Yankee Center and Andy Yosinoff Court, 2017 with St. Sansao. Nice start inside. Foul committed. Heading to the line will be Sarah Berman. Wears that similar black headband to Tanakakis. Out of Yorkie A.
Well, this is a very tough loss with Jamad Finley to the bench. Been a settling force and contributor so far tonight.
She's also been the primary defender on Tanakakis when she's been out there. So 2 fouls on Finn. First one with double with 2 fouls. So she will have to head to the bench. We'll see. Coach Yosinoff quick to his bench, but that's not a player you want to lose, particularly defensively. 2 free throws hit by Berman. 20 to 19. And that's going to be a travel. No doubt about it. Amari Faust had about 4 thoughts going in her head. None of them were executed. And she commits the travel.
She's a solid defensive player. Not going to look for her to get too many points.
Oh, she's going to be running the point. At least has to take care of the basketball. Into the short corner, darting inside is Joseph, and that's going to be another travel. Well, we know Coach Yosinoff loves to take his team on trips, but there's been far too many travels in these first 11 minutes or so. Travels, double dribbles, carries, and just careless passes. That's a beautiful one. Oh, and Shannon, you talked about it, Tom, not finishing. That's one. What a beautiful pass. Got to reward the assister there. And there's going to be a foul on Faust on Tanakakis. She got inside the area, and after Finn comes out, Tom, you know you got a good bench there, but you don't want your backup point guard going in and committing fouls like that. Eubanks out. Returning to the game is Barker.
If this trend keeps up, I would imagine that Coach Yosinoff will look to go with his own defense.
That's an offensive foul called against Olivia Joseph. An MIT player went flying, but they're actually going to call the push on Olivia Joseph. Looks like they called it on Broski, number 12. That's 2 on her, not Joseph. Joseph was there as well, number 32, but Broski gets whistled for it. And now they're going to call her Joseph for a little bit too much contact out. The rule was changed a couple of years, that freedom of motion. And just like that, it's 2 fouls apiece in the opening 67 seconds of this second quarter.
Well, this is a little bit different. Coach Griggs is digging deep in the bench for the first time this year, bringing 4 players at once. So I don't think she liked what she saw very much with all these turnovers.
Well, if there's so many fouls, as we've seen in the first 2 quarters, you might have to go deep into the bench. Who can stay out on the floor? Chan You can see Coach Yosinoff, he was waiting for the foul. Chen is very aggressive defensively, and these referees have been quick to whistle for those touch fouls outside the painted area. Still in the man-to-man, 6 on the shot clock, getting inside, flipping up with the left hand off glass nicely, Trinity Gow. Engineers with the 1-point advantage. Faust running the point. Still in the man-to-man are the Engineers as well. That's a dangerous ball. Chan is able to rack it in now. Corner shot, knocked down nicely. Smooth touch. Riley Lahiff knocking down the nice short corner jumper from the far side at our vantage point. 22-21. Saints on top. Running the point right now, Sienna Williams. Gives it up, gets it back, goes Williams in that far corner from our view. Gow, 5 on the shot clock. You hear the crowd counting it down. Inside, splits the D and finishes with the left.
Coach Yosinoff is not going to like that. There's no help defense on it, and the pressure is very rough on the dribble. She took advantage of it.
Another travel by Faust at 2. In the last 3 possessions for her, she came in, had a beautiful pass that Chan couldn't finish, but now she will head to the bench, and I think Coach Yosinoff lets her walk by. They'll let an assistant kind of slow her down, but it's a turnover for the Saints. Into the game is Mathis again with those mismatched purple and teal green shoes. 23-22, Engineers. Kick to the short corner. Shot comes in. Is missed off the back rim. Rebound by Gow, and she is denied by Loredana Diagas. This is a Saints team that averages 6 blocks through its first 2 games. 18 seconds on the shot.
MIT getting in very, very easily. I think the zone defense has to be mixed at some point in time, even just a change-up to give them something to think about. And it's going to the zone because there's such a team that looks for so many 3-point shots, so it's can be a tough decision.
Also, can be difficult to press and then drop into a zone. But we'll see what happens. Mathis caught it, but bobbled it, and now that one into the corner, much too deep. A shot attempt from Barker, who you mentioned, Tom, has the 3-pointer in her arsenal, as does Matella, but that one was much too deep. This one, a little bit of a broken play, a lot of bit of a broken play, and it goes out of bounds. Saints ball.
It's amazing the amount of turnovers that Emmanuel has created, and they're down by a point.
The half-court offense has not been the Saints' friend in this game. The hard part is that even on the turnovers that they forced in transition, there have been missed layups.
Just have to show more discipline.
Do all hard work, and then you miss the easy stuff. You say it's easy, but anyone who coaches this game and loves this game knows that it is a fickle friend at the best of times. Comes in from long range and is missed. Rattled in and out from Barker. Out of bounds to MIT.
Coach Yosinoff showing a 2-2-1 press now. Used primarily just to slow up, not really looking for a steal, but just to speed up the game, push MIT into an uncomfort zone.
You can see that as soon as the ball got in bounds, Emmanuel drops back. Not looking for the press, just looking to keep you honest and keep your thoughts. There's a missed layup from MIT as both teams have struggled from the field. Short corner jumper, far side, rebounded by Trinity Gow. She's played some big minutes in the early going as Trinity from Sunnyvale, California. Very different climate at this time of year out in Sunnyvale. It was a beautiful day here in Boston. And that's going to be a foul, no doubt about it. Coach Yosinoff frustrated. As soon as the player got by, can't commit the foul. 2 shots coming for the Engineers.
Well, that was the second time that Emmanuel did go to his own defense, but weren't able to control the dribble.
Timeout called by Coach Yosinoff. We only called 1 across the first 2 games of the season. Usually you see a coach like that, and you can see he's getting into it with his team. Defensively, he's not been the problem, Tom. It's been on the offensive end, and just it's hard when you execute and play so hard defensively. The points coming because you've worked so hard to get him. Just hasn't been there through the first 13 and a half minutes.
Well, it's frustrating as a coach, but I think overall he's very pleased that he's in the position that he's in, and defensively where he hangs his hat on, they're doing the job. So offense is, it's up and down. Defense is a constant. Offense is a variable. If you can shoot 1 out of 2, you go to the Hall of Fame. This is the problem, keeping them off the free throw line.
On the season, a 75% team are MIT. That one swished home nicely. 52 of 69 coming in were the Engineers. The crowd gets into a little bit more, no problem, as that one sunk. Charity strike, 2 more for MIT, and I believe this is their biggest lead of the game, 3.
What's interesting is MIT has kept Gallagher out of the game. This kind of tempo, they're resting him for the second half and towards the end of the game. The one thing they work for him.
Yeah, the one thing Coach Yosinoff can't be pleased with, they're down 3, and Antenakakis just has the 2 early threes. It's been the rest of the team that's found ways to get into the painted area, draw fouls, finishing in tight. Trinity Dow's had a great game so far for MIT. You've done the work defensively, but with the best player not having a great day, you still find your way down 3. On the dribble, Williams kicks to the corner, Gow back to Williams. Top of the point, met there by Mathis. 3. And another air ball. We've seen as many air balls as we've seen sunk threes from MIT. Opportunity. Eubanks should be an easy finish, but you just saw it coming. She got too tight to the middle, and then as she tried to adjust her body to use the glass, puts it too strong, and another 2 points.
That's exactly what Yosinoff is looking for from his pressure defense. The breakout, easy look. Gotta have those in this kind of tight game.
All the hard work again goes wanting. It's still Emmanuel basketball, and it's going to be an offensive foul called against number 42 in white. Or 24, excuse me, Kira Eubanks. Wilson first on her, but 4th on the team, so 1 more, and there'll be more free throws for the Engineers, who are getting ready to make a full line change, it looks like, far side of the court. Another travel, another turnover.
Well, we got the hockey substitution, change of lines.
Yep, you got.
And for the last 5 minutes of the first half, this well-rested starting players back in the game. Very good substitution.
Yep, you got Antenakakis, Piper, Wogu, Gallagher, all back into the game alongside Annika Songstead. So full starting 5 back out there for Lucia Robinson-Briggs. D'Agostino from the mid-range. Too strong. Nearly got it off the bank, though. Is that going to be a foul the other way? No, it's just going to be out of bounds. MIT balled up.
Interesting. Emmanuel has pulled the press off.
Maybe it just slows them down a little bit. We'll see, though, how MIT runs their half-court offense without being under pressure as they make their way up the court. And Antenakakis loves to play on the one-on-one. She can do just about everything. Nearly a travel, but no call this time. Wogu inside on the Euro. That is a travel. Get the feeling if this was the NBA, Tom, they would have let that one go. That's a nifty move inside, but definitely picked up the pivot foot on the hop step.
So far, the officials have been the stars of the show. Normally, like the official, you don't recognize that they're even out there, but there's been a lot of whistles.
We'll get some stats at halftime. Turnovers, though, are definitely the story, and fouls galore. And Antenakakis in transition looking for the pass, instead goes herself. Draw contact, doesn't get the call, but it's an easy finish for 2 from Gallagher. But the easy finishes haven't been finished by Emmanuel at this point. That's why they find themselves down 5. In transition, the jumper is short. 3.5 to go. 5-point lead for the Engineers, and Antenakakis running the point. Antenakakis against Mathis. Man-to-man defense again for the Saints. Antenakakis gets it back. You got to mark her anywhere on the court because she will hoist from anywhere. finds Wogu. Eubanks gets her hand in there. Wogu trying to draw contact. Doesn't hit rim. And nice play from Gallagher. She's been strong. And another timeout. That's the second one. And this time he puts out his arms. It'll be a full timeout as it's become a 7-point MIT lead.
Well, for MIT, you've got to be thrilled that you're getting so much production out of everybody but your star player, who's playing okay with 6 points, but really it's coming from all directions. On the other hand, that'd be very frustrating on the offensive end, some of the missed layups by Emmanuel, but also the fact they've done a great job on the score, and they're still behind. So this is going to be wear and tear, I think, in the second half, and they push it to the point where that Emmanuel can take over the game for the last 5 or 6 minutes because of the tiredness factor coming in.
And we talked about it, Tom, in the early going. You look at the stats, and obviously Antanakakis' 27-plus points a game jumps out. But you look at the rest of the team, and it's really knowing your role. They know that they're not expected to score a ton, but every single player knows that if they can chip in 6 to 8 points, and Antanakakis can get you the rest of the way, you're usually going to end up on top. And you've seen that in the first half. Antanakakis has the 2 threes, but for the most part, the rest of the team has just settled into their roles, done what they've needed to do on the offensive end when they've gotten the opportunities. They've finished the easy ones inside, gotten to the free throw line, knocked those down as well, and at the end of the day, that leads to a 29-22 lead.
Now, somebody's got to step up here for the Saints.
Mathis running the point. They spread the offense out. Nobody inside the paint right now. In fact, nobody inside the three-point arc.
I don't like this many players outside with nobody inside offensively for Emmanuel.
Trying to do a step-through move and a little bit too strong. It was a nice play by D'Agostino. Got inside, flipped it up with the right hand, and the rim hasn't been kind at all to Emmanuel. And that's going to be a foul. You can see the heavy swipe, and it's going to be an easy call by the base official. Another one against D'Agostino and the Saints. First on D'Agostino, but 5th on the team. So for the next 2 minutes and 34 seconds, as that one is missed by MIT. Good free throw shooting team, but that one is missed. Iona Kasovstik.
7.5 minutes gone in the second quarter, and Emmanuel has 2 points.
Only down. I say only. Means that just a couple of bunnies inside, a couple of stops, a couple of... A very tight halftime score. It could be the same the other direction now. And you just as well could find yourself down 14 if you're not careful. Short baseline had the open look, and nothing is going down for Emmanuel. Mattel had the open look, couldn't finish. That's a double dribble. Yep. You say the officials have been the star, Tom, but at least when it comes to the double dribbles, they're making it pretty easy for them.
They got good eyesight.
It doesn't take good eyesight to see a double dribble there. 30-22, MIT on top with 2:11 to go until we get the halftime break. Coach Yosinoff's defense so strong through the first 15 minutes. The offense, though, has been basically non-existent, particularly in this second quarter, and it's another turnover. Bringing it the other way is Piper. Piper tries to feed inside. Kick out. Antanakakis for 3. That can't happen. Transition offense finds its way to Antanakakis. She gets her 3. Or actually, they're going to say her foot was on the line, so it's a 2-ball. But it's still a 10-point edge for the Engineers. Flipped inside. Up the dribble. Mathis out top. That's going to be a tripping call. Against Paula Piper. That's the hard part, Tom. When you play a game that's not dedicated on threes in just about any way, shape, or form, you can't get yourself back into these games as quickly as you would if you could just jack it up from 3 like you see some teams do at this college level and certainly at the pro level. Nice dump-off pass. Offensive foul, though, is coming. Got into the painted area. But went right into the defender, held her ground, and it's another foul. It won't lead to free throws because it's offensive, but even when you get the layup, as that's 3 fouls on Shan, They can't get 2 points up there.
MIT so far has played a very clean game, only 3 fouls.
And Senakakis gets bumped. More throws coming. This foul whistled against Katant.
This is really running through a real problem because Senakakis hasn't missed a free throw all year.
Well, she's missed 2 of them, 18 of 20. But that's 90%. Might as well be, though. You shoot 90%. I think that's basically the equivalent of automatic. That's Steph Curry-like percentage. Kyle Korver, J.J. Redick level numbers. Ray Allen for those Northeasterners around here, of course, as well. Oh, 2 swishes. Didn't even touch the rim. 34-22 MIT. This game has not been as lopsided as the scoreboard might suggest, but the offense has completely abandoned the Saints in the second quarter. They have 2 points. And they step out of bounds. Turnovers and missed layups. Cannot win games if those are the 2 MOs of your game to this point. Halftime cannot come quick enough for Coach Yosinoff and the Saints. Rogu inside on Katant, another foul. Gets her on the arm. I think Coach Yosinoff's body expression, Tom, pretty much says it all right now.
Yeah, defensively, they've done a pretty good job. Now, they've done a little bit offline the last 2 or 3 minutes, and allowed MIT to really take it into the basket. But overall, I've been very pleased with the defense. But the offense has been nothing short of atrocious in terms of taking fairly easy shots.
And you look up, you got Shane with 3 fouls, who's probably been your most aggressive player on the defensive end and the offensive end for that matter. So with the fouls coming quickly, that prevents you from being as aggressive as you'd like, but it's also the speed on the defensive end has sped up the offense to the point where they've missed easy bunnies inside. Another foul, this time it will go against the Engineers. It's only the 3rd in the second quarter on MIT. A little bit of offense, defense. You can't make up 12 points in 30 seconds, but boy, do you need just 1 basket heading into halftime to give you something to build off of.
1 basket the whole quarter.
Another foul. Out of bounds. MIT commits it. This one will be called against number 25 in black, Kamsi Rogu, her first, excuse me. That is the 5th team foul on MIT. So 2 free throws, and the old cliche, sometimes you just got to see the ball go through the net. And D'Agostino, with a little bit of a jump in that free throw, sees it go off to the right. Can you say it must make free throw with 30.4 to go at halftime?
Absolutely.
And nothing going down happened. That net has not been rippled.
Even though they're down 12, with the defense that they played the first half, if they can copy that in the second half, they still have a chance. They're not out of the game. They just got to make easy shots that they've been prevented with.
Well, this one would be dangerous. It goes off that cord, almost seatbelt-like cord above the net. So 11.1 seconds for Emmanuel to get 1 shot to go to finish off this first half. Out top, Mathis calls for the screen, but then goes at herself. 4, 3. D'Agostino's got a hoist. There's nothing going to happen here. And it's an air ball. And unfortunately, that final shot, a fairly good illustration of what we had through 20 minutes, Tom.
Well, I think what we need to do is get into the locker room, take a deep breath, and just keep playing hard defense. And be patient on offense when the shot presents itself. There was a lot of rushing going on with those shots. They weren't covered that strongly, but they're just pushing them side to side. On the other hand, with MIT, if they can cut down on the turnovers, they could really open up this game.
Quite the interesting first half. It's a 12-point lead. It feels the way that Emmanuel played in that second quarter like it was a 25-point lead, but it's not. 12 points, that's just a couple of possessions, a couple of defensive stops, a couple of easy scores inside, which have not been easy to this point, but there's a lot of basketball left to play. We will break for this first half. We will come back on the other side with second half action from the Yankee Center and the Yosinoff court. At halftime, it's MIT 34, your Emmanuel Saints 22.
You could see those, this layup coming. You're like, oh boy, here we go. halfway deficit the way he played in that second quarter. That could have been a lot worse. 17-2. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No, you can't go in there saying like. No, you can't assume that they're going to keep missing layups for you. And my goodness, you cannot commit 17 turnovers and expect to win a basketball game and a half.
welcome you back inside the Yankee Center on Andy Yosinoff court. Mason South, Tom McCarthy. Well, it's his court, but I would assume, Tom, that if Coach Yosinoff could, he would go out there and try and make some of these layups himself. He has to be pleased with the defense, but the offense, boy, it was quite poor, to say the least, particularly in that second quarter.
It seemed to me like they were very tentative. They were looking at the MIT uniforms. These kids are better, kind of thing. Everybody was short-arming it. The thing that jumps out to us, and we were discussing it during the break, MIT was killing Emmanuel on the board, and particularly on the offensive board, 10-3. So that's something that's got to be cleaned up quickly. And surprisingly, the bench, which we thought was going to work in the favor of Emmanuel, MIT has a 13-5 lead in the scoring end. So there's some things there. The only thing Emmanuel can hang their hat on, they do have 8 fast break points. But as we both have discussed and mentioned many times in this broadcast, they could probably have 20 fast break points.
They certainly could. You look at the numbers that stand out. On top of those, the two teams combined for 20 field goals in the first 20 minutes. They combined for 31 turnovers. Of those 31, 11 were steals, which, personally, if you ask me, that means 20 of them were unforced. Now, there's obviously defense involved, but that means double dribbles, travels, stepping on the sideline or the end line, things that the defense isn't just taking the ball away from you. You're doing that to yourselves. So 31 turnovers, 20 field goals between the two teams in the first half, and we talked about it in the break, Tom. It was all MIT in the second quarter. 17-2. A 12-point game, easily able to be overcome if you start to make your buddies inside.
It looked like Coach Yosinoff has made his first lineup change with Olivia Martella replacing Corey Mathis.
Oh, you talked about it, Tom.
The scorers.
Yeah.
Searching.
Oh, you talked about it. Metallica hit the three. She missed that one, and it's another offensive rebound. It was 10-3 in the first half. Well, it's 1-0 already in the third quarter in favor of MIT on the offensive boards with an Antenakakis who had 3 triples. That was her scoring, along with a couple of free throws. Actually, she had 1 long 2 and then 2 free throws. So she had 10 in the first half, but it was really the role players, Trinity Gallagher inside, taking care of business as Antenakakis hoists and finishes short. Had the good angle from here. Looked like it was home, but just leaves it a couple inches short off front rim. 34-22. MIT remains on top. There's a nice finish inside by Jamad Finn. She was out for most of that second quarter, Tom, with foul trouble. Boy, it's great to have her back in there. She's got the 3 of them now, or 2. She's got 2. Yanni Shannon has 3.
There's that good protection in the middle of the court, and here come the turnovers again.
Finn, long-range shot, rolls out. Had the good look on the turnover forced by Lahith. 10-point ball game. Engineers with the lead and the basketball. Slowing things down. Paula Piper up top and Antenakakis barking out her orders. Looking for the screen from Wogu. Wogu sets it and Antenakakis goes around it. Piper trying to find inside Gallagher. Kick to the corner. And this one's much too long on the shot from Sogstead. Nearly another offensive rebound, but this time it is the Saints who come up with it, and they come into the front court. Chen inside. Kicks to the corner. 3-pointer opportunity. Gotta knock this one down. No. Rolls out. Chen physical on the offensive boards, and she'll head to the line for 2 free throws. And Coach Yosinoff likes what he sees from the Hong Kong true freshman.
Everybody's still cold as ice in the 3-point lane, but there's no substitute for hustle and strong effort. And that's what Shan is providing tonight.
Probably if she wasn't in foul trouble, the one player that Coach Yosinoff never would have taken off the floor if he didn't have to. She was a spark of energy. They mop up the floor right below the basket. Sean heads to the line for 2 free throws. on the season. Sharon just 4 of 7. This is not a team that shot a ton of free throws when they have not shot them well. 15 of 29. That comes out to 51.7% coming into this ball game. As Sean rolls that one home. In that first half, Emmanuel was 3 of 7, so they saw that 51% drop a couple more ticks as well. Chan, second one is good.
Coach Yosinoff must be very happy to see his team come out and take the first 4 points and get this thing under 10.
Gallagher, easy 2. The press break worked to perfection by MIT. No one got back. Once they got past them, you got to hustle back. And Gallagher finishes nice inside for 2. Had 8 and 6 in the first half, points and rebounds. She gets into double figures with her 10th, and Coach Yosinoff barking things out.
I think he's very disappointed that the tallest and biggest girl on the floor beat his 5 players down the court for an easy layup.
Can't get outrun by the freshman, or by the center. Leahiff forced to reset. Tries to go for the short jumper just inside the free throw line. Chan, got to be careful. She always wants to apply pressure, but she's got 3 fouls. Cannot pick up her 4th. Been the best player on both ends of the floor for Coach Yosinoff. That's a nice double team inside. And Tanakakis still has half the shot clock to go. Fake shot from Songstead. Finds Gallagher. Gets inside. Chan leaves her feet. And it's going to be... Yep. Chan with the block. Have to be careful. She definitely didn't have the angle. Taking a heavy hit inside was Leahiff. Puts her body on the line. Doesn't get the charge, but it is a turnover against the Engineers, who have struggled coming into this third quarter. Only the 1 field goal, and that was the layup from Gallagher off the press break. Finn spinning inside. That's a nice take. Misses another layup, though. Leahiff comes out with it. Finn inside, creates some space, and can't even get the roll there. That looked like a nice shot. Chan inside for 2. Third chance. Gets it done. Did that turnover? Yes, it is. No. Just got a tip on there. I think MIT might have sold that one, Tom.
Well, the official that has the ball now called it a manual ball. And I think I don't know why, but it looked like he was looking for help from the outside official. And the outside official put his hands outside, he said nothing, so it's kind of confusing.
Emmanuel has been much the better team in the third quarter after being thoroughly outplayed in the second. Now scored 17-2. New life. It's an 8-point game. Nice hustle play. Finn with the turnover, but had a couple of helping hands in there as well. Finn into traffic. Tries to go to the wraparound pass for Leahiff. Comes all the way out. Got to reset this half-court offense. Slow things down. Shan. Has not been a good day for D'Agostino so far. Just the 1 field goal. Inside Leahiff. Elbow jumper. Off back rim. Mid-range game still has completely abandoned Emmanuel. They have no 3-point game right now, and the mid-range game's been tough too. Nice round. Nice defense by Chan. Went up, contested the shot, but didn't commit the foul. Chan walks it into the front court. Goes off the dribble. Inside. Oh, that's a nice finish. Yanni Chan playing like a senior, but looking like she's the best player out there right now. She's got 13 to match her number.
My team will have to go to a timeout here. That looks like a walk.
Rogu bobbled it. Apparently didn't walk with it, and is able to finish for 2. Yanni Chan with 13 to lead all scorers. About 10 apiece for Gallagher and Antenakakis on the other side for the Engineers. Finn running the point. But this does look like a brand new team for Emmanuel. That's going to be a foul on the floor as Finn gets inside. That's a finish. A little reset underneath with 5:18 to play in the third. Mason Stout, Tom McCarthy with you on this Thursday night inside the Yonke Center. It was it felt like a nice spring afternoon here in Boston, despite it being November. It was in the 60s today. D'Agostino to her left. Chan waiting for it. Still has 13 on the clock. Plenty of time inside. That's a nice dish. Great little dish inside. Great pick and roll by D'Agostino, who sealed her man and finished. 38-32. Emmanuel's right there.
With the pressure defense, if they can just keep it going, it looks like MIT is just starting to maybe lose a half a step.
Three from the corner, too strong. That time from Sarah Berman. Chan has completely sparked this offense. She's got to stay on the floor. She's got 3 fouls, so she has to be careful she doesn't pick up the fourth. That could completely derail this third quarter. Finn commits the foul the other way. Tried to go up for the offensive rebound. Short corner bunny. Left it short. Only the first foul, though, in this third quarter on Emmanuel. They've done much better and disciplined defensively. They had 4 fouls early in both the first and second quarters. They've done much better here. Chan tried to win the ball back, but look at that hustle again, Tom, from Yanni Chan. She's everywhere right now.
She's played a terrific basketball game tonight so far. But everybody's just got to pick it up one notch. They should be sensing the fact that there's a point of momentum in their favor. But
Coach Yosinoff now has just on the floor with 3 fouls as Finn, with that little grab when she tried to go for the offensive rebound, up her third. So Chan has 3, Finn has 3. Both have to stay on the floor for Coach Yosinoff right now. There's a nice bank home. Beautiful finish. Caitlin Barker for 2. Timeout, MIT.
Well, this was a terrific turnaround that we didn't quite expect after that second quarter, but I think it's a question of it all starts with the defense. And at the beginning of this quarter, those double teams down low of Gallagher were very effective.
They certainly were, forcing the perimeter game to basically do all the work, and we talked about it at halftime, Tom. MIT goes into that halftime with a 12-point lead that in many ways they probably didn't deserve because of how many missed inside opportunities Emmanuel had. They started to hit him inside, and just like that, they're right back in the ball game. So it's one of those things where MIT was not a vastly superior team in the first half. Emmanuel just couldn't hit their inside shots, their layups. Now that they've hit them, they look like the better team.
Somehow Coach Yosinoff has to protect Finn and Chan with this foul situation, because that could be devastating.
Offensive rebound inside, one of the smallest players out there. Berman at just 5'6". She goes down to the floor, but no travel. And it's going to be a held ball. Possession arrow favors Emmanuel. Swarming defense. It's an MIT team that can live and die by the 3, but it's usually in Tanakakis, and if she hasn't hit one today, no one else from the perimeter has been hitting either.
I wonder if we'll see Tino Hong back in the ballgame. She did a very good job in that second quarter.
Yeah, she and Trinity Gao were both excellent for MIT as they rode the bench for a lot of that second quarter. Didn't go back until they did that essentially hockey line change with about 3 or so minutes to go. They used their bench effectively in the second, but the starters have been outplayed here in the third, and they have seen the 12-point lead cut down to 4. Gallagher has been sealed off inside beautifully by a combination of Layhip and D'Agostino. 11 on the shot clock, 3:06 to play in the quarter. Morgu inside, flips it up, short. Gallagher tries to track it down. It's D'Agostino instead. Is there another held ball? No, she's able to get it free to Layhip. Here's a transition opportunity. Can they finish the layup inside? And just flips out of the hands of Caitlin Barker out of bounds. Coach Yosinoff wanting a tip, but I think the body language of Barker confirmed that she just lost it out of her hands, went up too quick, forgot the basketball.
Very, very tough turnover that time. Could have cut it to 2.
Into the corner. Skip pass, Rogu, inside, nice dribble. Nice little hop step Euro, not called for the travel. Didn't look like anything from my vantage point either. And a big 2 points for the Engineers to calm things down and calm down this crowd as well, Tom.
Very nice turnout tonight.
Never thought you'd really take fans in attendance for granted. But boy, the last 18 to 20 months have done just that. Just having the fans here, having the noise, it just adds a little bit of extra energy that you never thought that you'd miss as much as you did. 40-34, try to get inside the lay, have that to travel.
Jamar had something in her mind that she was going to throw it to Riley. And even though she had the opposite corner open with Bartek, she didn't open up her whole view with her peripheral vision.
Up top, moving it to her left is Angie Choi. Gallagher has to collect it with 15 on the shot clock. A lot more half-court defense, but it's been very effective for Emmanuel. MIT has not had much going themselves. If it hasn't been a layup, Tom, it really feels like both teams have had absolutely nothing outside of Chan when she's been able to get inside. She's been the exception to the rule, but the half-court offense has been lacking for both teams. Chan with a block on the three. And there's a foul committed inside, and it looks like it's going to go against Emmanuel. That's an unlucky call against DiAgostino with 3 on the shot clock.
The New England Patriots would have been very proud of that tackle of the ball. I mean, it was tremendous effort, but the other guy was just standing up, and she took the brunt of it. I don't know whether necessarily you make that call because DiAgostino got possession of the ball. The other player made no effort to it.
So the shot clock goes up to 20. Quick trigger, three-pointer, front rims from Berman. Coming out with it is Finn for your Saints. Finn all the way in transition, leaves the defender, and finishes off glass. Finn and Chen, they've been the life. There she is again. Boy, I love the swagger of Yanni Chan. She just looks stoic, but almost with an angry face. I don't think you'll ever see her smile out there, and that's going to be a turnover.
Well, we thought this game was going to be played in the 70s, but unless somebody gets ultra hot in the fourth quarter, that's not happening, I don't think.
MIT, a team that usually gets into the 70s off the back of Antenakakis' three-point shots. She only has 2 today. MIT still has the 4-point lead. DiAgostino had the look, gets a second look at it, and will head to the line for 2 free throws. Foul inside on Gallagher, it looks like. Now they're going to call it on Sogstead on the reach-in. That's the second on Sogstead. And 2 shots at the charity stripe for DiAgostino. Big free throws for this one. Little hopper. And that one goes down. 5 points for DiAgostino. Everybody chasing Chan's 13. 74 seconds to play in the third. You can hear DiAgostino yell, that one's off, but she gets it back and flips it up and in.
Look at the turnaround in this third quarter. I mean, it's been very scrappy. Nothing that
you'd never know that these 2 teams aren't in the same conference, Tom. I mean, they're separated by a mile and a half, so in many ways you probably should be. But in terms of the way this game has been played, the physicality, the atmosphere here, with all the MIT fans making the very short trip across the Charles and all the Emmanuel fans here as well on a Thursday night, this could be a conference tournament quarterfinal.
Well, they're playing for keeps, that's for sure.
All city pride. There's so many schools all battling for supremacy inside this Boston area.
Well, now you got to just keep those 2-4 points going into the fourth quarter. You made your statement, and basically an even game now.
Take care of the basketball.
That's right. You can't let this last minute get away.
Chan inside gets hacked by Berman. 2 more free throws coming for the MVP of this one, Yanni Chan.
One thing that the rest of the Emmanuel players should recognize that Chan is always moving without the ball. She's a threat with it, but she makes not just cuts, she makes hard dives to the basket. And that draws attention and fouls.
Well, I say do everything with a purpose. Everything that she does, every single movement she makes, there's an intent to it. She's a ball hawk. She's got nice touch. Good off the dribble. Boy, what Coach Yosinoff's going to be able to turn her into, I can only imagine.
Well, that's 2-2-1 push now. They're trying to keep the ball out of the middle. That's possible.
Just don't commit the reach in. It's going to be tough. Oh, Sean got lucky. Went for the block. Looked like she might have gotten a piece of the body.
I think Leahy got the ball up top.
So an opportunity to take the lead. This one's short. Went too strong off glass. Gets it right back and flips it up and in. And Caitlin Barker has given the Saints a 1-point edge.
What an amazing quarter.
That's a travel. Yep. Saw that one. Coach Robinson Briggs saying, hey, that was a little bit of a push, but definitely a travel first. And 11.8 seconds on a quarter that has been all Emmanuel after the Engineers completely dominated the second.
Chen. Flip the ball to Chen.
Yep, wants the ball in her hands. Here she goes, flips it on. Travel. Got a little bit unlucky, stumbled.
Freshman mistake.
Emmanuel has 3 fouls. Obviously, this is the third quarter, so we're not really talking about fouls to give. Shan has to be really smart here. Don't commit any kind of reach in. Just contain, and yep, that'll do it.
That's interesting. But MIT would get away 3.5 seconds.
Oh, we saw it in the first quarter. That's a lot of time. We had 4 seconds. It got all the way up to 4. But we came into this one, Tom, saying we should have a really close, tight ball game. And we've had 2 of the most lopsided quarters that you could ever imagine. And at the end of the day, with 10 minutes to go, it's a 1-point game. So we got what we wanted, just not in the way that we expected.
3 quarters. Emmanuel had 20 points in the first quarter, 2 in the second quarter, 20 in the third. Let's hope that they don't go back to 2. But that was close. 20-7. Third quarter.
Yanni Chen leading the way with the help of Jamad Finn. Finn got a couple of nice finishes inside as well. Got a couple of trips to the free throw line. And that's the one thing I think we've seen from this one, Tom, is that we've seen a couple of different ways and a couple of different players make an impact for Emmanuel. The second quarter for MIT, they had some bench players contribute, but you almost felt in that third quarter that if Antenakakis didn't carry them and get them points, they weren't getting points. It's going to be interesting to see how the fourth quarter plays out. Can Antenakakis just put the game on her shoulders? She's not in there to start this fourth. She's going to get a quick break, but she won't be out for long.
Well, they're taking that same ploy that they took in the second quarter and bringing the whole bench in.
Yep, got Hong in there, who feeds Trinity down, who had a great second quarter. So until he lost on a bounce.
Just wearing them down. Constant pressure. They're looking for the defender rather than looking at the basket.
Spending so much time just trying not to turn over the ball that they're forgetting to actually move toward the basket. Fine by Coach Yosinoff and the Saints, who have a 1-point lead with 9:40 to go. Mason South alongside Tom McCarthy on a close one after 2 blowout quarters for either side. Reverse layup inside DiAgostino off glass.
That was a fantastic catch. I mean, a very good pass, but that was a fantastic catch in traffic.
She has had to work hard for her points. But there's a reason she's the leading scorer, although Chen is the leading scorer tonight with 14. Another ball-hawking defensive possession. Sean with the turnover.
Oh, what a smart play.
Flips it up, and it bounces away. Still has an opportunity. Flips it in. Sean gives the point. Nice finish inside by Barker. It's a 5-point lead for the Saints.
We talked about it early. Pressure can make a coward of everybody. You just get tired.
From distance, rattled home. That's big. Not sure what happened there. Might have been a bandage or something that came off of the finger. And that's a big three from distance. Knocked down by Tina Hong. You mentioned her in the third quarter. You wondered if you were going to see a little bit more of her. Rattles home the three from the top of the key and kind of just quiets this crowd. 46-41. 46-44 now. A little bit of a momentum breaker. Crowd's got to get back into it. Have gone eerily silent after how much noise they were making before Hong's three. Layhiff looking for the man. Finds the Agostino. Short corner jumper. Back rims it. Back to Layhiff. Second chance look. And the offensive rebounds have completely flipped too, Tom. Now it's Emmanuel getting the second and third looks at third bites at the apple. Turnover again. Transition look. Layhiff off the dribble. Left side. Gets inside. Rims out. Another offensive rebound though. And one. Finn.
There's been such a flip of the plate as far as the real go after the ball attitude on the offensive end. Those offensive rebounds start to really run up. Those are free ones.
I was going to say, Tom, for someone who's been around this game as long as you have, rebounds are all about effort. Every coach will always tell you, particularly on the offensive rebounding glass, rebounds are all about effort. And right now, Emmanuel is putting in the effort. Shen flips it all, it rolls out. I think she might have almost lost her shoe. But it's another offensive rebound. Here comes the hockey line change. They can't wait any longer. MIT. Timeout, Coach Yosinoff.
Trying to hurt either ankle or toe.
Almost went right through her shoe. Completely affected the shot. Looks like she'll have to come out very briefly. Or maybe not.
Hopefully it's just a cramp.
Hopefully. I can't remember a game that I've called in recent memory, Tom. Now, obviously, it's been a long time because of the pandemic. But that aside, I can't remember a game with as drastic a swing as we saw from second to third into fourth quarter. It's been astonishing.
Defensive play was a big part of that. And what worked for MIT early in the game, not working so much now, but most of this is just coming off.
That's going to be a shot clock violation. Yeah. Went off that side backboard, had to be quick out of the timeout. But Coach Yosinoff has seen his defense continue to be stifling, and the offense has started to click a little bit more. Largely off the backs of Yanni Chen and Finn and D'Agostino as well, but that's beautiful transition offense. Gallagher's gotten two of those in the second half, both off quick transition opportunities that have kind of stifled the runs. She's got 12.
When you play pressure, you're going to give up an occasional fast break. That's just the way it is.
D'Agostino fouled. We'll see if that's on Wilgu or Gallagher. It's on Wilgu, her third. More big free throws for D'Agostino and the Saints. This has not been their area of expertise in the first couple of games of the season, but you got to have them to close this game out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. Has Antenakakis had a shot in the second half?
I think she may have had a drive to the basket, but as far as the three-point shot, man, I mean, the defense did a terrific job identifying. That was his number one key coming into the game, and they've done that.
A player coming off of a 40-point effort as D'Agostino misses both. Antenakakis trying to track it down, but it's won nicely by Metella. Make that Barker. Layhiff got Barker behind her. Metella drives inside, tries to flip it up, might have had a piece on it, Gallagher, and it finishes short. Piper. Antenakakis is in that far right corner. Slams the ball into her palm. She knows that it's probably going to get to be her time where she's going to have to take this game over or MIT's going to fall behind even further. And Tanakakis, they left her. Back rimmed, a little lucky from Emmanuel. The help defense is important, but you can't usually help off of her. But she'll make you pay. Play hit. Right at the free throw line. Gets the right elbow.
Beautiful pass.
It is beautiful. Heavy contact blocking foul called against Wogu. That's 4. And Shan is coming back in. That's great to see. Didn't look anything too serious, but you never know. But she's back in. D'Agostino's got to hit these free throws. I think she's 1 for 6 on the day from the charity stripe, if I'm correct.
That's where you make your money.
Or not. It rattles out. On the season, she was 5 of 7 coming in. But it has not gone down from D'Agostino. She's really had to work hard in this game, but the free throws continue to rattle in and out. It's still 51-46, 4 straight missed from the line from D'Agostino to keep MIT in it. 5 points. They're a 3-point shooting team, just takes a couple. Wogu inside, nearly a travel, but she finishes. They've let him play a lot more in the second half, Tom.
They have.
Saw non-stop whistles the first 20 minutes. They've let him get away with a little bit more, it looks like, in the second. Oh, that's a big 3. Corner 3. Huge from Matella. Turnover? Yep. How about that hustle? Make the 3 on one side, force the turnover on the other.
I think Coach Yosinoff is going to have to do one or two things. He has to go call a timeout and get a rest for Leahy and for D'Agostino, or he's going to have to substitute for a minute. Those girls are really giving top effort, and they've played almost every minute of the game.
Finn for 3. She banked it home. It was strong, but goes off back rim.
Not a good shot.
Nope. And Tanakakis behind her back. Oh, that's Chan's 4th. You love the aggressiveness, but that's a big 4th foul. She wasn't getting past you.
You've got to get her out for a minute or two.
She's been so strong in this game.
You need her at the end of the game.
I think that's the one thing that you're starting to see. If there's one area that she's going to have to work on across the season, 100% effort, every single play. Got to stay out of foul trouble in the result, though.
Keep her hands out of the cookie jar, common expression.
She wants every ball. She's so eager to get the steal. That sometimes you got to be careful. You got to stay on the court, or else you can't make those plays. Oh, that's a nice stop from right here.
Terrific block by Leahy.
And Tanakakis tried to get inside, and Riley Leahy said, "No, sir."
Coach Yosinoff is going to take a break.
Yep. No surprises there as he calls the timeout. That is the 3rd that he has used. So he will have 1 left. All 4 still to be used. Actually, I believe it's 3. They list 4 up there for MIT. I'm pretty sure I remember at the end of that big run in that 3rd quarter that MIT used 1 of theirs. Robinson Briggs definitely used 1. With Coach Yosinoff using 2 in the first half and 1 there. So I believe it's 3-1 in terms of timeouts. But they've done such a good job on Tanakakis, Tom, but you can see she's starting to feel the pressure that it's all on her shoulders because the rest of her team has not been at the same level that they were in the first half. Credit fully to Emmanuel's defense in that regard.
And MIT has not played against a team like Emmanuel to date this year. The one key point here that we watch the scoreboard is Emmanuel only has 1 foul committed. So as the clock now 4:40 to go, this could really be a big benefit for the Saints.
Chen has come out with those 4 fouls just to get that quick break, but also to make sure that she can be in there in crunch time. That's a great offensive rebound and finish inside for 2. Haven't said her name much, but Annika Sogstead, the 5'10 senior from Montgomery, Minnesota, finishing inside. 54-50. D'Agostino got blocked from behind. 54-50. MIT can cut it down to 2 or 1 with a 3. Getting inside the painted area. Sogstead stripped by Lehiff. D'Agostino. Finn comes out with it. Slow things down, I would say. Don't want to rush things. Run your offense. Opportunity from 3. Off left rim. But long Karam comes to Lehiff, and they can reset the offense with 20 seconds on the shot clock. Finn. Try to go dribble drive. Resets things. Inside back tap. Beautiful steal. And strip from Piper. And Tenakakis behind her back. Gets into the painted area. Tries to finish in traffic. Tried to spin it home. It comes back to Gallagher. Offensive rebounding has determined who has all the momentum in this game, Tom.
Well, at that time, D'Agostino too tired. She stopped at half court, and her man was underneath the basket. She should have continued on to try to get that defensive rebound.
Not going to out-rebound over Gallagher without D'Agostino inside, who gets it and finishes.
She's given him a lot of tough minutes.
She's into double figures with 11. 3:05 to play in regulation. Chen's ready to come back in. And Tenakakis just has 2 points in the second half. Inside, that's a great dump. Oh, and she compounds the area. The error. You got beat on the back door. You can't foul like that if you are. Got to make sure you at least keep him from making the layup. And 1 opportunity for Gallagher.
McKellar is on the weak side. She should have gone in and give help under the basket and then have some rotation on the outside. She's concerned with her own. The key is you've got to protect the basket.
MIT can cut it to 1 with Gallagher's free throw. On the season, Gallagher 9 of 16 coming in. She misses it. Both the centers, Gallagher and D'Agostino, missing some key freebies at the line. 56-54, D'Agostino goes in on a smaller man, resets things. Lehiff on the left elbow. Lehiff trying to get into traffic. Now trying to get out of the traffic. She does to D'Agostino with 11 on the clock. Chen, no look pass to the right side. Looks good from distance, but it's off the back rim. And another nice rebound from Gallagher, who's really had a great game for MIT. Wogu, she doesn't want the ball. Or at least they shouldn't want her to have the ball. She is not the ball handler, and they end up turning it over. Finn looking one way, going the other, draws contact, and it rattles out. How many rattle outs have they had? That's a tough screen on Wogu. She's got 4 fouls, so needed to be careful. Sogstead resets. And Tenakakis off the dribble, inside, drawing contact, and 1. Another one on D'Agostino, I think. If it is, that's 4. Yep. 4 on D'Agostino, 4 on Chen, and Tenakakis with an opportunity to give MIT back the lead. 2 minutes ago, tie game, Tom. What more could we ask for?
It's been a roller coaster of a ride so far.
Oh, my goodness.
For sure, but the game will be decided in the last 2.
And it may be decided at the free throw line. And Tenakakis is automatic, and Emmanuel has left too many at the charity stripe. And they find themselves down 1 again. A minute 55 to play in regulation. Finn gets the handoff. Shoots from 3, and it rolls out. Got the pass from Mathis, and Finn from long range. Maybe settled a little bit, but was feeling it. And Tenakakis slowing things down. As it does when you're the best player out on the floor offensively. Things do slow down a little bit more. Sogstead gets trapped. Gallagher, Wogu, mishandles, travel. Yep.
Big break.
Wogu only had thoughts about putting it in, but forgot to catch the basketball. And Emmanuel catches a break. They were overcommitted on the defensive end. But they'll have the ball back with a 1-point deficit with a minute 24 to go. Only 1 timeout left for Emmanuel.
We haven't seen Corey Mathis in the game for almost a quarter and a half. So he's back in, the senior, one of the captains.
Starting lineup is in there for Coach Yosinoff. Mathis directing traffic, moves it to her right. Chan. Finn. And this one's thrown into the backcourt. It's going to be a backcourt violation and a turnover. Unforced error by Emmanuel. 67 seconds to go, and Coach Yosinoff is going to burn the final timeout right here. On the most important defensive possession of the game, a coach that prides himself on his defense calls a timeout for his defense.
Well, he's got to really get the water out and put out the fire at this point. But they just got to settle down, and he has a limited amount of scoring, particularly from the outside, out on the court right now. So
it's a good point, Tom. You look at MIT right now, a 2 inside makes it a 3-point game, but because of the style of play that Emmanuel likes to play, you might as well call that a 2-possession game in a lot of circumstances, unless they can get an and-one inside for someone like D'Agostino or Chan. A 3-point game for a lot of teams, certainly an MIT team, that's a 1-possession game. Emmanuel, you got to get a stop here, or else you might need 2 possessions the way you play. Fans getting into it. Boy, you love this atmosphere in a tight game.
That ball might be going inside the Gallagher.
Chan has to be careful. Do not commit the reaching on Antanakakis. Wogu. Antanakakis wants the ball back. She gets it. Goes with the pump fake. Gets inside and is tripped. We'll see if it's on Finn. That would be her 4th.
Martello, I think.
Yep. So that's just her first, but that is the 4th team foul on Emmanuel. So the next one will result in the bonus and 2 free throws. You can foul Gallagher, you can foul Wogu, you cannot foul Antanakakis, who's a 90+% free throw shooter. Wogu gets it in. Wogu, Antanakakis matched up with Finn in those yellow shoes. Love this defensive matchup. Screen comes from Gallagher. Antanakakis gets in the lane. She's got to get it out though. Opportunity. Great closeout. Antanakakis gets it back, goes baseline. Gets trapped by 3 players. Lets it open. Look for 3. Goes off the back rim. Oh, what an offensive rebound by Gallagher. Flips it up. No call. That's a good no call as well. Good no call. Everyone went straight up. 1 second difference shot in game clock. Coach Yosinoff has no timeouts left, so they got to play this through.
Wide open in the right corner.
Finn. D'Agostino inside to Layhif. Layhif on the turn. Rolls off. And it's going to be a foul. D'Agostino is going to get fouled. It's on the floor, and that's 4 on MIT. So no free throws coming for D'Agostino. But the way that she shot from the free throw line, that may be okay. She has not been a strong free throw shooter tonight, but got wrapped up and wrestled down to the floor. So with 13.4 seconds,
Coach Griggs not exactly happy with what went on down her offensive end of the court.
Nope. Great defense again. There was a triple trap on Antanakakis as she tried to get inside the lane. She got the look on the outside for 3, but it was missed by Paula Piper. 13.4 to go. 1-point MIT lead. D'Agostino pump fakes, goes inside, loses the basketball. Wogu comes out with it. They got to foul her. Got to foul her. Cannot get to Antanakakis. They don't. It's Songstead. Annika Songstead will head to the line and have 2 free throws. Anyone but Antanakakis will do.
Well, it's a 6-second game for Emmanuel, and they still have the opportunity, based upon what goes on here, to at least tie the game.
I should have said anyone but Songstead or Antanakakis. That's 10 for 10 now for Annika from the line this season. 6 seconds left. Emmanuel has no timeouts, so they're going to have to go to length of the floor. Offensive rebound, no. Chan is there, and she gets fouled, and she'll head to the line.
Oh, my goodness. What an ending this is going to be.
Anything but a foul for MIT. Oh, that's critical. And Yanni Chan will head to the line with an opportunity to tie the game. First one, the most important one. Got to hit the first. Here comes rebounding help. Eubanks. Matella will come out. So you got D'Agostino and Eubanks in there for the rebound. What an ending, Tom. What an ending. Crowd goes silent. One more. Yanni Chan can tie the game.
They all want to just stay away from her. Rasburn jumping in her face and encourage her. Let her put it in.
What a critical foul.
But they can't relax if they make this shot because that ball going to come back in a hurry.
We're tied. MIT going to call the timeout. They have 3 of them, I believe. It says 4 on the scoreboard. I believe it's 3, but we are tied.
I don't know what they're celebrating for. It's a tie.
Oh, let them cheer, Tom.
As an old coach, you play the game until the final whistle or horn.
Full timeout called by Coach Robinson Briggs. Well, key number 1 for MIT, Tom, has to be get the ball in bounds. And key number 1 for Emmanuel needs to be do not foul. Both teams in the bonus now, so it would be 2 free throws. You know who the target is. It's not a question of who the target is. And Tenakakis is usually the trigger man, so as an old coach, you know the most dangerous player on the floor is usually the inbounder.
I would not go to sleep on Gallagher. Because she's done a terrific job tonight, and she's the closest one to the basket.
Yeah, you certainly could try the old flip inside, try and get some contact, and you'd only need 1.
4.9 seconds is plenty of time.
It's an eternity.
So, you know, Tenakakis is going to, she obviously is going to have the ball, we would think. But she's a very good passer, so she'll let her head up and...
They will inbound on the near side from our view, right in front of the most raucous group of Emmanuel fans that we have. It'll be Sogstead to trigger so Tenakakis can run off some screens. And Tenakakis matched up with Chan. She gets it in. 4 to go. Do not foul. And Tenakakis gives it up. Shot at the buzzer. No! Overtime. Way to force it out of Tenakakis' hands. She gives it up. Had a look. But 5 more minutes at minimum of basketball here tonight, Tom. And between these 2 teams in front of these fans, what more could you want?
Well, both teams, the women have put in, regardless of the turnovers, they have put in a tremendous effort. And a very low-scoring game, frankly. We won MIT averaging 79 at 21 under, and Emmanuel averaging 72 and they're 14 under. So it has been a defensive battle in its own way.
And you think about the D1 level where usually these kind of atmospheres are created in non-conference play between 2 highly ranked teams. Here at the D3 level, it's between cross-town or cross-river rivals because you get all these schools in this close proximity against one another. These aren't conference opponents, but they are intercity rivals, and sometimes that can create even more passionate rivalries because you're so close. Everybody's familiar with one another. These coaches are coaching just a mile and a half away from one another, and it leads to the atmosphere in the game that we have tonight where a loss would just be so disheartening after how hard you've played for 40 minutes.
And both teams are representing their conference, so...
Yep, NUMAC versus GMAC. GMAC, 58 all. 5 minutes of overtime, at least at first, to start here inside the Yonke Center and Andy Yosinoff Court. Mason Stout, Tom McCarthy, until this one goes final. D'Agostino and Gallagher both try to bat it the other way. It caroms to Chen, who goes right at the defender. And 1. Crowd goes crazy.
Well, I know that Coach William Lowe and the Chan family are watching in Hong Kong, 13-hour difference. And I can tell you, they must be banging the walls right now.
At 9:30 in the morning, currently in Hong Kong, or just past it, 9:45 in the morning. Chen knocks down the free throw. Now remember, as we reset this game, it's 61-58. 3 fouls for Finn, 4 fouls for D'Agostino, 4 fouls for Chen. The only player with 4 for MIT is Rogu, who just passed it off to for Antenakakis.
And Andy is trying to protect the players with a lot of fouls, going to the zone and hoping for the best.
Into the 2-3. It's a quick little hand in there from Finn. Held ball will keep it at this end of the floor. 7 seconds remain on the timer. 4:31 on the game clock. Emmanuel leads 61-58 on Yanni Chan's 19 points coming off of that and one. She had 2 free throws with 4.8 to go. That tied us at 58 after she got fouled on a defensive rebound off of a missed free throw. Got to move quickly. Stripped. Another turnover. Forced by your Saints. Finn comes the other way. She doesn't have numbers. Reset the offense. She does well there. Smart play. Goes to DiAgostino. Eubanks calling for it. Short corner. Left side. Rolls out. And that's DiAgostino's fist. She's done. Oh, that's so critical. Now Eubanks is going to have to keep all the slack.
While the action's been going on, Yanni Chen banged her left knee down in this corner, and she's been just sitting there while all the play went on.
Yanni Chen looked like she came up short on a layup earlier where almost looked like she busted right through her sneaker. She's been the best player on the floor. She's going to have to come out or at least walk it off. But DiAgostino is done. That's a tough foul, the way that they've let this game go in the second half to get a little touch foul on a rebound like that. DiAgostino's done, and now all the size is going to have to come from Eubanks and Lahith as DiAgostino fouls out with 4:14 to go in the overtime. Chan's still out there with 4. Rogu's out there with 4 for MIT. Free throw is sunk. We keep the fouls from the first or the second half, so both teams will continue to shoot free throws for the remainder of the game. Those are both sunk by Sogstead.
Well, they're missing an awful lot with DiAgostino going to the bench. Not just her scoring, but her overall physical play has been very, very motivating for her teammates.
Now Lahith will have to be on Wogu if they go man-to-man as this one finds its way to Finn's hands off the deflection. Lahith gets left for a second. Wogu comes to cover her. Finn with a nice cut inside, but she went too strong. It should still be Emmanuel ball. It is, but it didn't hit rim. So 7 seconds remain on the 24, the 30-second shot clock. 61-60 Saints lead. Nice pass back. Three-pointer opportunity. It rolls off the rim. 20 seconds, though, on the offensive rebound. Another look at the apple. No. Third look. Lay-in. Far side. Beautifully done. Matella.
The offensive rebounding in the second half has been absolutely spectacular for Emmanuel.
Whichever team's been getting the offensive rebounds has had the momentum in the game. MIT made that little 6-point comeback on the back of offensive rebounding. Antenakakis got 13 on the day, but she has been largely shut down.
I would just bang that ball on the Gallagher every single play.
Boy, it's almost like you've watched this game for a while, Tom. Just like that, into Gallagher, easy deuce. 63-62, Saints with the lead. Foul on Gallagher. That'll be 4 on her. This game completely changes if they can have DiAgostino and Gallagher out, and then it's a really small ball game with Eubanks and Wogu, the big 2 out there. Gotta think. Just like you said, Tom, got to feed Gallagher on the offensive end. Go right at Gallagher. See if you can get her to commit the 5th.
Well, now I refer to your word think. Both teams now have to think about the play. Time and score, key. And making free throws.
Yep, 2 big ones there. Restore the 3-point edge. Finn into double figures with 11. Inside the final 3, it's a turnover. Finn with a 3-on-2, can dunk it off. Easy 2.
What a fantastic dish.
Matella with another easy 2 inside.
They are going to the floor.
Possession arrow goes to Emmanuel. The defense has been stellar.
Looks like a rugby game out here.
Eubanks, Matella, Barker, Finn Lahiff in there with Chan with 4 fouls, taking a quick rest, and they've done well with her on the bench. Finn double pumps, tries to go for the offensive rebound, but it finds its way
Not a smart play.
in the hands of MIT.
They take more time off the clock.
Oh, this is dangerous. She's been running all game, and Tenakakis usually makes a shot like that, and it's going to be a foul on Finn, it looks like. Nope. Comes the other way, and it's going to be the 4th foul on Sogsted. Sogsted with 4. Gallagher with 4. Wogu with 4. The fouls are building up for both sides as Chen is on the bench with 4, but now the foul trouble is on MIT's side as with Chen not on the bench or not on the court. Nobody has more than 3 as Finn.
Nice for one.
Yep.
The Wounded Warriors back once again. They can't keep her off the floor.
Oh, you worked with and coached and saw these players from overseas, and particularly from the Asian continent. They are as tough as they come. They will never leave the floor unless you force them off at some points.
I'm going to tip my hat to Jamad Finn. She has really taken over the...
And she's played the entire second half and overtime with